What if everything you believe about your life, the story you've been telling yourself, could be rewritten? What if the doubts, the setbacks, the moments you think define you don't have to be the final chapters? Right now, you might be feeling stuck, weighed down by disappointment or regret. Maybe you wonder if it's too late to change course, to become who you truly want to be. Those feelings are real and they matter. But here's the truth that can change everything. Your story isn't over, not by a long shot. The narrative you've been living by is only one version of your life, and you have the power to pick up the pen again to write a new path, a new destiny. That power lies within you, waiting to be unleashed. Think about how deeply stories shape how we see ourselves and the world around us. The story you tell yourself becomes a lens, coloring every thought, every decision, every step you take. It builds the boundaries of what feels possible and what feels impossible. But what if those boundaries were not walls, but lines in the sand? Or what if you could move them, erase them, redraw them? When you realize this, hope ignites. It's not just a flicker, it can become a blazing fire. Hope is the seed of courage, the spark that says, I can try again, I can be different, or I can grow. And growth is the most profound way to rewrite your story. You might ask, why should I believe this? Why now? Because the moment you start to question the story you've been handed, you open the door to transformation. It's in that very questioning that strength is born. When you stop accepting a life limited by fear or failure, and instead see your story as a work in progress, you reclaim control. This isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to see beyond the pain and stepping into your own power. It's about understanding that setbacks don't define your worth and mistakes don't determine your future. Your story is a canvas, and every day offers a chance to add new colors, new strokes, new meaning. There is a deep natural hunger inside all of us to feel that life matters, that we matter. When you start to rewrite your story, you begin to meet that hunger head on. You create a narrative where you are not the victim of circumstances, but the hero of your own journey. This shift changes everything. It fills you with energy and focus. It gives you courage to face the unknown. It fuels resilience when times get tough. And here's the emotional reward waiting for you, the chance to become who you were always meant to be, to wake up each morning with purpose, to feel proud of the steps you're taking, to live a life that feels real and full, no matter what's happened before. So stay with this thought and let it settle deep inside you. Your story isn't done. The chapters yet to come hold the power to transform your life in ways you can barely imagine. This is not just an idea, it's a call to action. To rewrite your narrative, you must first believe it's possible. And once you do, nothing will ever be the same. Right now, ask yourself, what story have you been living by? What words echo in your mind when you think about who you are, what you deserve, and what you're capable of? Most of us carry with us a script written long ago, often shaped by fear, doubt, or others' opinions. It's the story that says, I'm not enough, I don't deserve happiness, or I'm stuck because of my past. These narratives aren't just thoughts, they become the invisible chains that keep us trapped. They limit your vision of what's possible. They convince you to settle, to shrink your dreams, to accept less than you were born to claim. But here's the hard truth. Those old stories are not your truth. They are only a story. And if you continue to live by them, your life will continue to reflect those limitations. The power lies in recognizing this, in shining a light on those narratives that keep you locked in place. This recognition is not about blame or shame. It's about awareness. Awareness creates space, space for choice, space for change. When you start to identify the story you've been told, you gain the ability to challenge it. Suddenly, the feelings of being stuck begin to loosen. You realize that much of what you believe about yourself might be false or exaggerated. Maybe it's a voice from your childhood, a fear implanted during a hard time, or a belief that someone else told you about who you are. Whatever it is, you can question it, you can rewrite it. This simple but profound step, questioning the old script, is where true transformation begins. It disrupts the automatic cycle of negative thinking and frees you to imagine new possibilities. You no longer have to accept the narrative that life has dealt you. Instead, you can create a new story that serves your highest self, your deepest dreams, and your fullest potential. Understand that this process is not easy. The old story feels familiar, like an old friend, even when it hurts. It has been repeated so many times it's ingrained in your identity. Breaking free means stepping into the unknown, and that can be scary. But within that fear lies a powerful truth. The moment you face those stories, you take your first real step toward freedom. The brain is wired to seek safety, which is why old stories cling so tightly. Yet the same brain is capable of growth and change, and neuroplasticity shows us this every day. Your mind can rewire itself through new beliefs and habits. By consciously choosing to challenge the old narratives, you begin to create new pathways that support strength, confidence, and resilience. This is science backing your ability to change your story. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to live free from the limits of your old narrative. Imagine waking up each day not weighed down by fear or self-doubt, but energized by belief and purpose. This is not some distant fantasy. It is possible, and it is within your reach. The first step is to become fully aware of the story you've been telling yourself. No judgment, just clarity. Once you see it clearly, you hold the pen. You hold the power to write a new story that empowers you, uplifts you, and leads you toward the life you deserve. This realization alone can shift everything. You don't have to remain a prisoner to a script that no longer serves you. You are more than your past. You are the author of what comes next. That moment when you realize you can rewrite your story, that's the spark of awakening. It's a powerful shift that ignites something deep within you, the truth that your life is not a fixed script, but a living, breathing narrative waiting to be shaped. This awakening doesn't erase the pain or erase the struggles you've faced, but it changes your relationship to them. Instead of being trapped by what has happened, you start to see these moments as chapters, not the conclusion. This shift from victim to creator is the essence of transformation. It's the moment when hope stops being a distant idea and becomes a tangible force guiding every step you take forward. When you awaken to this power, you step into a new kind of freedom, a freedom that fuels courage and invites you to imagine boldly. The awakening carries with it a quiet strength. It asks you to pause and ask a different question. What if I could change? What if my story isn't determined by my past, but by my willingness to choose differently today? This question holds the potential to dissolve the chains of doubt and fear that have held you back. It invites curiosity, and with curiosity comes possibility. This is no small thing. The mind thrives on certainty, and the unknown can feel terrifying. But the very act of embracing the unknown, of standing on the edge of your comfort zone, is a declaration that you refuse to be defined by old limits. It's a choice to write your story with intention rather than default. This awakening moment becomes the foundation for every decision, every action that follows. It's a powerful emotional experience, one that shifts your identity and rewires your belief about what's possible. When this awakening takes hold, the energy inside you changes. Fear may still be present, but it no longer has the same power to stop you. Instead, fear becomes a signal that you are stepping into growth. This is the courage psychology talks about, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Acting in the face of fear rewires your brain, strengthens your resilience, and builds momentum toward change. Each small step forward, even when you're uncertain, becomes a victory. These victories accumulate, creating a new story of strength and progress. This new story replaces the old one, not because the past disappears, but because your perspective shifts. The meaning you assign to your experiences changes, and with that change, your life begins to move in a new direction. Awakening also opens the door to a deeper connection with your own inner power. You realize that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but the author of your life's path. This realization is transformative because it puts the responsibility and the opportunities squarely in your hands. It is both humbling and empowering. It means you can create meaning from struggle, find lessons in hardship, and build a future that reflects your truest self. This awakening isn't a one-time event, it's a continuous process. Each day offers a new chance to awaken again, to choose courage over comfort, and to write a chapter filled with intention and possibility. When you embrace this, you step fully into the truth that your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Change is never easy. The truth is, stepping into a new story means stepping into uncertainty, and that uncertainty often triggers fear. Fear is a natural response. It signals danger and urges caution. But too often, fear becomes a prison that stops us from moving forward. It whispers that the unknown is too risky, that failure is too painful, or that we aren't strong enough to endure. These fears can feel overwhelming, and they make rewriting your story seem impossible. Yet, the very presence of fear reveals that you are on the edge of something important. Fear is not the enemy, it is a signpost. It marks the boundary between where you have been and where you need to go. Understanding this transforms fear from a wall into a doorway. Facing fear doesn't mean pretending it isn't there or pushing it aside recklessly. True courage is recognizing fear, accepting it, and moving forward despite it. It is the quiet strength that says, I feel afraid, but I will act anyway. This kind of courage rewires the brain. Neuroscience shows that every time you act courageously in the face of fear, your brain builds new pathways that make it easier to face challenges in the future. Over time, what once felt paralyzing becomes manageable. This process is not about eliminating fear. It's about learning to dance with it, to walk through it. Fear signals that you are growing, expanding beyond your comfort zone, and that growth is essential for rewriting your narrative. When you accept fear as part of the journey rather than a barrier, you tap into a deeper well of resilience. Resilience is the capacity to bounce back from adversity, to keep moving forward even when the path is difficult. It is not an innate trait reserved for a chosen few. It is a skill that can be cultivated through mindset and action. Each time you face a fear, no matter how small, you strengthen this skill. You build a track record of survival and success that becomes evidence of your strength. This evidence shifts your internal story from one of limitation to one of empowerment. You become someone who faces challenges head-on, who learns from setbacks, and who refuses to be defeated by circumstance. Understanding that fear and resilience go hand in hand also helps dissolve the shame and self-judgment that often accompany fear. Many people beat themselves up for feeling scared or hesitant. They see fear as weakness, a flaw to hide, but feeling fear is human. It is a sign you are alive and pushing toward change. When you stop judging yourself for fear, you open space for compassion and courage to grow. Compassion towards yourself fuels the motivation to keep rewriting your story, no matter how many times you stumble. This kindness becomes a powerful foundation for transformation, allowing you to move beyond perfectionism and embrace progress. The courage to face fear, to persist despite discomfort, is the defining characteristic of anyone who has ever changed their life. It is the quiet but unstoppable force that separates those who remain stuck from those who break free. When you choose to lean into fear rather than run from it, you rewrite not only your story, but the meaning of fear itself. Fear becomes a teacher, a guide, and a signpost leading you toward your next breakthrough. And this is where true transformation begins. When fear no longer controls you, but you control your fear. This choice changes everything. The past often feels like a heavy weight, something that drags you down and makes moving forward difficult. It's easy to believe that what happened before defines who you are now and who you will be in the future. Yet, clinging to the past as an unchangeable truth is one of the biggest obstacles to rewriting your story. Your past holds memories, lessons, and experiences, but it does not hold your destiny. This is a crucial realization. Your past is not your prison. It is simply a chapter that has already been written. What you choose to do now, in this moment, is what shapes the chapters still to come. Letting go of the past isn't about forgetting or denying what you've been through. It's about releasing the hold it has on your present and future. It's about reclaiming your power. The science of the mind shows us that our brains are not static. They are capable of change at any age. Neuroplasticity means you can form new habits, new ways of thinking, and new emotional responses. This means your brain is not trapped by old patterns rooted in past pain or failure. Every thought you choose to nurture, every belief you challenge and change, builds new neural pathways. This biological truth offers hope grounded in fact you can heal, grow, and become who you want to be. Holding on to the past may feel safer because it is familiar, but safety is not the same as freedom. Freedom comes from consciously choosing to step into new ways of thinking and being, even when it feels uncomfortable. Forgiveness plays a key role in releasing the past. Forgiveness is not about excusing harm or forgetting mistakes. It is about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that bind you. When you forgive, you take back control of your emotional state. You no longer allow resentment, anger, or guilt to dictate your story. This act of forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a powerful declaration that your future will not be dictated by past wounds. Forgiveness creates space for healing and new growth. It softens the grip of painful memories and allows you to move forward with greater clarity and peace. Choosing to let go of the past also means shifting your focus to the present moment and the future you want to create. The past exists only in memory. The future exists only in possibility. The present is your power zone. It is where you can take action and make choices that align with the new story you want to live. This focus on now is not about ignoring your history, but about reclaiming your role as the author of your life. You can decide how much power your past holds over you, and you can decide to build a new foundation rooted in hope, strength, and purpose. This freedom from the past is one of the most profound acts of self-love and courage. It requires bravery to face your history honestly and tenderness to allow yourself to heal. When you let go, you create the space needed to breathe deeply, dream freely, and live boldly. The weight lifts, the chains break, and the path forward becomes clearer. Your story is no longer written by what once was, but by what you choose to create today. You are free to build a life that reflects your truest, strongest self. Every moment holds the power to shift your story. This truth is both simple and profound. It means you are never trapped in a fixed path, no matter how long you have walked it or how many times you have stumbled. The future is not pre-written. It is a landscape of possibilities shaped by the choices you make right now. This understanding is liberating, but it also carries responsibility. It calls on you to become fully present, to engage with your life consciously and deliberately. To rewrite your story, you must first reclaim your power to choose, to act, and to believe differently. This is not about magic or luck. It is about intentional living, the commitment to craft a life aligned with your deepest values and highest vision. The power of choice is a psychological cornerstone of motivation and transformation. When you believe you have options, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that fuels motivation and pleasure. This neurological response encourages you to take action and sustain effort over time. On the other hand, feeling trapped or helpless suppresses this drive and can lead to despair. Recognizing that you have the power to choose, even in the smallest decisions, awakens your inner strength. It reconnects you with the possibility of change. Every choice, no matter how small, becomes a stepping stone on the path toward your new narrative. This might be choosing to speak kindly to yourself, to set a boundary, to try something new, or simply to get out of bed with intention. These moments add up. They build momentum and rewrite your internal story from one of limitation to one of possibility. Choosing also means letting go of the need for perfection. Transformation is messy and nonlinear. You will face setbacks, doubts, and moments when you want to give up. These experiences are not signs of failure, but evidence that you are pushing beyond your comfort zone, expanding who you are. Embracing imperfection allows you to continue moving forward despite uncertainty. It frees you from the paralysis of fear and the trap of self-judgment. This mindset shift strengthens your resilience and keeps your emotional momentum alive. It teaches you that progress is not about being flawless. It is about showing up consistently, learning, and growing. Your story becomes one of courage in the face of imperfection, of persistence when things get hard, and of relentless hope. Living with intentional choice deepens your connection to purpose. Purpose fuels meaning, and meaning fuels motivation. When your actions align with your purpose, you experience a profound sense of fulfillment and energy. This alignment shifts your mindset from "I have to" "I get to." It transforms obligations into opportunities and struggles into challenges worth facing. Purpose-driven living rewires your brain to focus on long-term rewards rather than short-term comfort. It builds grit and determination. When you embrace this, rewriting your story is no longer a daunting task, but an exciting journey. Each day becomes a chance to write a line that moves you closer to the person you want to be and the life you want to live. Your story is shaped by the choices you make right now. In every moment you hold the pen. What you choose next defines the chapters to come. This power is yours, waiting to be claimed. Belief is the foundation upon which every new story is built. Without belief, change remains a distant dream, something reserved for others but not for you. The moment you decide to believe in your own capacity to change, to grow, and to overcome, you activate the most powerful force within your mind and heart. Belief is not blind faith or wishful thinking. It is a commitment to embrace possibility, even when the evidence seems scarce. It is the refusal to accept limitations imposed by past failures or present fears. This belief fuels your motivation and resilience. It becomes the lens through which you view obstacles, not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to learn and rise stronger. When you believe in your potential, your story shifts from one of struggle to one of unstoppable growth. Your brain thrives on belief because it creates a psychological blueprint that guides your thoughts and actions. Neuroscience reveals that belief influences the way your brain processes information, filters experiences, and directs focus. When you hold positive beliefs about yourself, your brain seeks out evidence to support those beliefs, reinforcing confidence and resilience. Conversely, limiting beliefs narrow your view and trap you in cycles of doubt and fear. This is why rewriting your story requires actively nurturing beliefs that empower rather than diminish you. It means replacing "I can't" with "I will try," "I'm not enough" with "I am worthy," and "I've failed before" with "I am learning and growing." These shifts may feel small at first, but they accumulate, reshaping your internal narrative and opening new pathways to success. Belief is not static. It is built through consistent practice and evidence. Every small success, every step forward, strengthens your belief in yourself. Even when progress seems slow or invisible, each act of courage rewires your brain, deepening the conviction that change is possible. This is the power of momentum. Once belief takes root, it creates a positive feedback loop where confidence breeds action, and action breeds more confidence. Your internal dialogue transforms into a source of encouragement rather than criticism. This shift is essential because self-talk shapes your emotional experience and drives your behavior. When you speak to yourself with kindness and conviction, you fuel the emotional energy needed to keep moving forward, even in the face of setbacks. It is also important to recognize that belief requires patience and compassion. You will face moments of doubt and insecurity. They are part of the human experience. When these moments arise, do not see them as failures, but as signals to pause, reflect, and reinforce your commitment. Use them as opportunities to reconnect with your purpose and your vision. Surround yourself with reminders of your strength and progress. These reinforcements anchor belief and prevent old fears from taking over. The mind craves certainty, and belief provides that inner certainty, a foundation of trust in yourself that supports sustained growth. Belief changes everything because it transforms your relationship with yourself and your future. When you believe in your ability to rewrite your story, you no longer wait for permission or perfect conditions. You take ownership of your life and step into your power. This belief unlocks courage, fuels persistence, and ignites hope. It is the unwavering force that propels you forward no matter the obstacles. Belief is the fire that lights your path when the way seems dark. Hold on to it fiercely. Nurture it daily. Your story is waiting to be rewritten, and belief is the first bold stroke on that blank page. Action is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Belief alone, no matter how powerful, remains an idea until it is translated into movement. Without action, the narrative you want to create stays locked in your mind, waiting but never arriving. The moment you take intentional steps, no matter how small, you transform possibility into progress. This is the essence of change, consistent, purposeful action fueled by belief and courage. Action feeds momentum and builds confidence. Each decision to move forward, even when fear or doubt linger, rewires your brain to expect growth and success. It turns abstract hope into tangible results. This is how transformation becomes real. Psychology shows that the brain craves movement. Action stimulates motivation and creates a cycle of reward that keeps you engaged. When you act, your brain releases chemicals like dopamine that make you feel pleasure and satisfaction. This biological response reinforces your efforts, making it easier to keep going. The hardest part is often just starting. But once you do, even the smallest action carries you closer to the life you envision. The key is not to wait for the perfect moment or for fear to disappear. Waiting only strengthens hesitation. Instead, take action with the courage you have now. Momentum will grow from that first step. The path does not need to be perfectly clear. It only needs your willingness to move forward. Action also rewires your relationship with fear. When you act in spite of it, fear loses its grip. Instead of controlling you, it becomes a signal that you are growing. Every courageous step weakens fear's hold and strengthens your resolve. This builds emotional resilience, making it easier to face future challenges. Your brain learns that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty. This learning rewires your nervous system to respond with confidence rather than panic. With each action, your identity shifts. You no longer see yourself as stuck or powerless, but as someone who chooses to keep moving no matter what. Taking action demands clarity and intention. It requires you to define what matters most and set goals aligned with your values and vision. Without this focus, movement can feel aimless and exhausting. Clear intention channels your energy and attention, making your efforts more effective. It also creates a deeper emotional connection to your journey. When your actions are tied to purpose, they carry meaning that fuels persistence. You find strength in the knowledge that your steps contribute to a larger story, your story being rewritten by your own hand. Each action taken, no matter how small, is a declaration. You refuse to remain a passive character in your life. You choose to be the author of your story. This choice ignites a powerful inner transformation. It fuels hope, courage, and determination. It reminds you that your story isn't over, not by a long shot. The pen is in your hand, and the next chapter begins the moment you decide to act. Choose to move forward now. Your future depends on it. Every transformation demands patience. Or change does not happen overnight, no matter how intense the desire or urgent the need. The mind and body require time to adjust, to heal, and to grow stronger. This waiting period is often the most challenging part of rewriting your story. It tests your commitment and your faith in the process. Your patience is not passive. It is a quiet strength rooted in trust in yourself, in your vision, and in the journey ahead. It allows you to hold space for growth without rushing or forcing results. This kind of patience builds resilience, helping you navigate setbacks and delays with grace rather than frustration. Understanding this transforms waiting from a source of despair into an active part of your progress. Psychology reveals that impatience often stems from a desire for control and certainty. When outcomes feel uncertain or slow to manifest, the mind reacts with anxiety and doubt. These feelings can tempt you to give up or take shortcuts that undermine true growth. Learning patience means accepting that some aspects of change are beyond immediate control. It requires a shift in focus from the speed of results to the quality of your effort and mindset. When you concentrate on consistent, purposeful action rather than instant success, you create fertile ground for lasting transformation. This focus reduces stress and sustains motivation because it anchors you in the present moment rather than an uncertain future. Patience also deepens self-compassion. Change is rarely linear. You will face moments of weakness, mistakes, and slow progress. These moments are natural and necessary for growth. Patience allows you to treat yourself with kindness during these times instead of harsh judgment. This compassionate approach preserves your emotional energy and reinforces your commitment to keep going. It reminds you that setbacks do not define you. They are simply part of the process. When you extend this same kindness to yourself that you would offer a close friend, you create a safe internal environment for transformation to flourish. Moreover, patience teaches you to appreciate the small victories that often go unnoticed. Each tiny step forward, every moment you resist old habits or choose courage over fear, is a triumph. Recognizing these wins fuels your belief and momentum. It helps you stay connected to your purpose and builds a positive feedback loop that supports sustained effort. This appreciation transforms your journey into a series of meaningful experiences rather than a race to an endpoint. It cultivates gratitude, a powerful emotional state that further energizes motivation and well-being. Ultimately, patience is a vital companion on the path of rewriting your story. It strengthens your ability to endure challenges, maintain focus, and nurture hope. It helps you embrace the process, knowing that true transformation unfolds over time. When you combine patience with belief, action, and courage, you create a powerful force that propels you forward. This force reshapes your internal narrative and moves you steadily toward the life you are determined to build. Embrace patience not as a burden but as a gift, a sacred space where your new story takes root and grows strong. Your transformation is unfolding, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. Trust the process. Your story is being rewritten with every patient breath you take. Your environment shapes more than just your physical space. It shapes your mindset, your habits, and ultimately the story you live by. The people you surround yourself with, the places you frequent, and the messages you allow into your mind either lift you toward your potential or weigh you down with doubt and limitation. If you want to rewrite your story, you must become intentional about your environment. This doesn't mean a sudden, dramatic overhaul, but a steady, conscious adjustment toward what supports your growth. Small changes can have profound effects. Clearing clutter, seeking out positive influences, and limiting exposure to negativity all create space for the new narrative you want to create. Your environment can either anchor you in old patterns or propel you forward. The choice is yours, and it is a powerful one. Psychology teaches us that humans are deeply influenced by social and physical surroundings. Mirror neurons in the brain cause us to imitate behaviors, attitudes, and emotional states of those around us. When you consistently engage with people who believe in possibility, who encourage your growth, and who challenge you to rise, you reinforce your own belief and motivation. Conversely, toxic relationships, constant criticism, or environments filled with stress and negativity chip away at your confidence and energy. These external forces can trigger your brain's stress response, flooding your system with chemicals that impair focus and decision-making. To rewrite your story, you must protect your mental and emotional landscape by curating an environment that nurtures strength, resilience, and hope. This means being selective about who and what you allow into your inner world. It means seeking out mentors, friends, and communities that reflect the values and vision you hold for yourself. It means turning away from sources of doubt and negativity, even if they once felt familiar or comfortable. Comfort does not equal growth. Growth requires discomfort, challenge, and change. Your environment should reflect this truth. It should be a place of encouragement, inspiration, and accountability. When your environment supports your aspirations, it acts like fertile soil where your new story can take root and flourish. Beyond people, your physical surroundings matter deeply. Spaces cluttered with chaos and disorder can overwhelm your mind, making it harder to focus on your goals. Creating order and beauty around you isn't a superficial task. It is a powerful act of self-respect and intention. When your environment feels supportive and aligned with your purpose, it becomes a constant reminder of your commitment to transformation. It can inspire you to act, to dream bigger, and to believe more deeply. This intentional shaping of your surroundings becomes part of the internal work you do every day. Remember, rewriting your story is not just an inside job. It requires external alignment as well. Your environment can either be your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. Choose it wisely. Surround yourself with positivity, support, and inspiration. Create spaces that empower you. These choices will strengthen your resolve, sharpen your focus, and accelerate your progress. When your environment mirrors the person you are becoming, it becomes impossible to remain stuck in old narratives. Your story is evolving, and your environment is the stage on which your new chapter unfolds. Make that stage worthy of your transformation. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Every belief, every fear, every hope forms the blueprint from which your life is built. To rewrite your story, you must first become aware of the stories you tell yourself, the recurring thoughts that shape how you see the world and yourself. These internal narratives can either confine you or set you free. Negative self-talk, doubt, and limiting beliefs act like invisible chains, holding you captive in a past that no longer serves you. But when you begin to notice these thoughts and challenge them, you reclaim your power. You become the conscious creator of your mental landscape, choosing which ideas to nurture and which to release. This mental clarity is essential for transformation because your thoughts determine your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your outcomes. Science shows that the brain is wired to seek patterns and create habitual thought loops. These loops can trap you in cycles of negativity or open doors to possibility. Changing your thought patterns is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the difference between facts and interpretations, between what is and what you fear might be. This awareness allows you to break free from automatic destructive thinking and replace it with empowering perspectives. It requires courage to face uncomfortable truths and persistence to rewire deeply ingrained habits. But this mental work is the foundation upon which every new chapter is built. Positive thinking alone is not enough. It must be rooted in authenticity and aligned with your deeper values. Shallow optimism can be a distraction that delays real change. Instead, focus on honest reflection combined with a commitment to growth. When you confront your fears, doubts, and failures openly, you disarm their power. You also cultivate self-compassion, recognizing that being human means facing imperfection and uncertainty. This compassionate awareness fuels resilience and encourages you to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. It transforms the internal dialogue from criticism to encouragement, strengthening your emotional core. Intentional thought management also sharpens your focus. When you control your inner narrative, you direct your energy toward what truly matters. This clarity cuts through the noise of distractions and doubts, empowering you to prioritize actions aligned with your vision. Your mind becomes a powerful tool, focused like a laser on the next step rather than scattered across fears and what-ifs. This shift enhances motivation and sustains momentum, making it easier to take bold, consistent action. Rewriting your story begins with rewriting your mind. You hold the pen to your internal script. By choosing thoughts that empower, inspire, and challenge you to grow, you create a mental foundation for transformation. This work is not always easy, but it is necessary. It is where courage meets clarity and where possibility begins. Your story is waiting to be rewritten, and it starts with the thoughts you allow to shape your world. Choose them wisely. Choose freedom. Choose strength. Choose the story you deserve. Change demands courage, the kind of courage that rises not from absence of fear, but from the decision to move forward despite it. Fear will always be present when you stand at the edge of something new, something unknown. It whispers doubt, threatens failure, and tempts retreat. But courage is the voice within you that says, I will try anyway. This courage is not reserved for heroes or the extraordinary. It is available to every person willing to face their fears and claim their power. It is the heartbeat of transformation, the fuel that turns intention into action. Without courage, your story remains trapped in the past, stuck in the same patterns and limitations. With courage, you begin to rewrite that story on your terms. Psychology reveals that courage is a skill, not just a trait. It grows through practice and repetition. Every time you choose to act despite discomfort, you strengthen your ability to face the next challenge. This creates a cycle of bravery that expands your comfort zone and reshapes your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone controlled by fear, but as someone capable of overcoming it. This shift is profound because identity shapes behavior. When you identify as courageous, your brain aligns your thoughts, feelings, and actions to support that identity. Courage becomes a habit, not a rare event. Courage also requires vulnerability, the willingness to be seen as imperfect, uncertain, and human. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the raw openness that allows you to connect with your deepest self and your true desires. It is the space where growth happens because it invites honesty and self-acceptance. When you embrace vulnerability, you break down the walls of isolation and fear that keep you stuck. You create room for healing and transformation. This is why courage and vulnerability are inseparable partners on the journey of rewriting your story. Furthermore, courage demands that you face failure, not as a final verdict, but as feedback. Failure is an essential teacher that reveals what doesn't work and points you toward what might. Fear of failure often paralyzes us, but reframing failure as an opportunity to learn removes its power to stop you. Courage lets you stand up after falling, dust yourself off, and continue with greater wisdom and strength. This resilience is the backbone of every great transformation. It ensures that no setback defines you or ends your story. Finally, courage is fueled by a vision of what is possible. When you hold a clear and compelling vision of the life you want, courage becomes easier to summon. Your future self calls you forward, igniting hope and determination. This vision acts as an emotional anchor, keeping you steady in turbulent times. It reminds you why you endure discomfort and uncertainty. It connects you to a purpose greater than momentary fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to pursue your vision regardless. It is the force that propels you from stagnation to growth, from doubt to action, and from survival to thriving. Embrace your courage. Your story is waiting for the brave chapters only you can write. Action is the bridge between who you are now and who you are becoming. Without movement, dreams remain fantasies and intentions stay locked inside your mind. Taking action, even imperfect and uncertain steps, breaks the chains of inertia and propels you forward. It is the concrete expression of your desire to change, the physical manifestation of courage in motion. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Each small step you take reinforces the belief that transformation is possible and within your reach. The power of action lies not in grand gestures, but in consistent, deliberate choices made every day. This is how new habits form, how new identities take shape, and how your story truly begins to shift. Research shows that the brain responds to action with positive feedback loops. When you act toward a goal, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical linked to motivation and reward. This creates a natural cycle where taking one step encourages the next. The more you move forward, the easier it becomes to continue. Conversely, waiting for perfect conditions or for fear to disappear often leads to paralysis. Perfectionism is a subtle trap that delays progress and undermines belief. Action teaches your brain that you are capable, that you are committed, and that you are worthy of growth. It rewires your neural pathways to support success rather than defeat. Taking action also builds resilience by exposing you to real-world feedback. When you engage with challenges head-on, you gather valuable information about what works and what doesn't. This feedback allows you to adjust your approach and deepen your understanding. It removes the fear of the unknown by transforming uncertainty into experience. Each attempt, regardless of outcome, expands your capacity to handle setbacks and adapt with grace. Resilience born from action makes your transformation sustainable and powerful because it is rooted in lived experience rather than theory or hope alone. Action demands focus and intention. It is easy to become distracted or overwhelmed by the size of your goals or the complexity of your journey. Breaking your vision into manageable, meaningful tasks makes progress tangible and less intimidating. This focus sharpens your will and reduces mental clutter. Every purposeful action is a declaration of your commitment to your new story. It tells your subconscious mind, I am serious about change. Over time, these repeated commitments build a powerful internal narrative that supports your growth and silences doubt. Ultimately, action is an act of faith in yourself and the process of transformation. It is a courageous leap into the unknown, fueled by hope and determination. Waiting for certainty or permission only delays your growth. Your future self is calling you forward, urging you to step into your power and own your story. The choice to act is the most potent way to rewrite your narrative because it transforms possibility into reality. Your story isn't over. With every step you take, you rewrite the ending. Take that step now. Your transformation begins here. Transformation is not a straight line. It is a journey marked by progress and setbacks, clarity, confusion, strength, and vulnerability. Accepting this reality is essential to sustaining your momentum and maintaining hope. Too often, people abandon their dreams because they expect change to happen quickly or perfectly. When it doesn't, they believe failure has arrived, that the story they want to write is beyond reach. But real growth is messy and unpredictable. It requires patience and persistence, a willingness to keep going even when the path is unclear or difficult. This acceptance of imperfection is not resignation. It is a powerful act of self-compassion that frees you from unrealistic expectations and the weight of perfectionism. Your brain craves certainty, but transformation lives in uncertainty. The discomfort of not knowing what comes next is where growth happens. In this space, you learn to trust yourself beyond results and external validation. You develop inner resilience that holds steady through storms and doubts. Embracing the unknown allows you to explore possibilities without the fear of failure paralyzing your steps. It teaches you that progress is not linear and that every challenge faced is a step forward, even if it feels like a setback. This mindset shift changes your relationship with obstacles, from threats to opportunities for growth. Patience is an underrated form of strength. It requires faith in the process and trust in your own capacity to evolve. When you cultivate patience, you create space to appreciate the small wins that often go unnoticed. These incremental victories build the foundation for lasting change. They remind you that transformation is built on consistent effort over time, not overnight miracles. Patience deepens your emotional endurance, allowing you to remain committed to your story even when immediate results are absent. This endurance is what separates those who give up from those who ultimately succeed. Persistence fuels momentum. It is the determination to keep moving forward, to take one more step, one more breath, one more attempt. Persistence rewires your brain to associate effort with progress, reinforcing the belief that you can overcome challenges. It pushes you beyond temporary discomfort into new realms of possibility. Every time you persist, you reclaim control over your narrative and move closer to the person you want to become. This relentless spirit becomes a powerful force that propels you through moments of doubt and fear. To rewrite your story, you must embrace the full journey with all its imperfections. You must hold space for setbacks without losing sight of your vision. Transformation is not a destination, but a process, a continual unfolding of your potential. When you accept this, you empower yourself to keep writing your story with courage, patience, and persistence. Your narrative is alive, evolving with every choice you make. Trust in your ability to grow through the challenges. Your story is not just unfinished, it is unfolding beautifully, one imperfect step at a time. Your environment shapes your mindset more than you realize. The people you surround yourself with, the places you spend time, and the information you consume all influence the story you tell yourself about what is possible. If your surroundings are filled with doubt, negativity, or complacency, your inner narrative will mirror that energy. But when you intentionally cultivate an environment that supports growth, courage, and possibility, you create fertile ground for transformation. This is not about controlling everything around you, but about choosing what you invite into your life, what thoughts, voices, and influences you allow to shape your worldview. Your environment can either imprison you in old stories or liberate you to write new ones. The power of social connection is undeniable. Humans are wired for relationship, and our brains respond to social cues more than any other stimuli. When you spend time with people who believe in growth, who challenge you to be better, and who celebrate your efforts, your motivation soars. Positive connections reinforce your courage and resilience, creating a safety net that encourages risk-taking and perseverance. Conversely, toxic relationships drain your energy and erode your self-belief. It is essential to seek out those who reflect the qualities you want to embody, who see your potential even when you struggle to see it yourself. These relationships act as mirrors and fuel, reflecting back the strength and possibility that already exists within you. Beyond people, the physical spaces you inhabit impact your mindset. Cluttered, chaotic environments increase stress and limit creative thinking, while organized, intentional spaces invite clarity and focus. By curating your surroundings to align with your goals, you send a powerful message to your subconscious mind. You are serious about your transformation. Small changes, cleaning a room, creating a dedicated space for reflection or work, surrounding yourself with inspiring images or words can dramatically shift your energy and focus. These environments become daily reminders of your commitment to growth and help sustain motivation when challenges arise. The information you consume is another vital piece. The media, books, podcasts, and conversations you engage with influence your beliefs and attitudes. Feeding your mind with stories of resilience, growth, and possibility rewires your thinking and expands your sense of what is achievable. Conversely, constant exposure to negativity, fear, or cynicism reinforces limiting beliefs and breeds doubt. Choose your inputs wisely. Let your mind feast on ideas that inspire courage and action. that challenge you to rethink what you thought was possible. This mental diet strengthens your internal narrative and empowers you to rewrite your story boldly. Ultimately, transformation requires an environment that nurtures your best self. This means actively seeking out what elevates you and courageously letting go of what holds you back. It means creating spaces, both external and internal, that support the story you want to tell. Your environment is not just a backdrop, it is a powerful force in your journey. When aligned with your vision, it becomes a constant source of strength and inspiration. Remember, your story isn't just written by your past or your thoughts, it is shaped by the company you keep and the world you allow yourself to inhabit. Choose wisely. Your story deserves an environment that reflects your highest potential. The stories you tell yourself shape everything you become. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, builds the foundation of your identity. These internal narratives can either imprison you in fear and doubt or liberate you to pursue greatness. It is easy to accept the stories handed down by circumstance, by others' opinions, or by past failures. But true transformation requires you to question these narratives and choose the ones that empower you. When you rewrite your inner story, you change the way you see yourself, your potential, and the future that awaits. This shift is the catalyst for profound change. Your mind is incredibly receptive to repetition and emotion. The stories you replay in your head with intensity become truths that guide your actions and decisions. Negative stories create mental barriers that keep you stuck, reinforcing fear and limitation. Positive, empowering stories, on the other hand, build confidence and courage, creating a mindset of possibility. The difference lies in the narratives you choose to nurture. Every time you catch yourself doubting or shrinking, you have the power to pause and replace those thoughts with ones that affirm your strength, your worth, and your capacity for change. This conscious effort rewires your brain over time, building new neural pathways that support growth. Beliefs are not just abstract ideas, they are emotional experiences that have been etched into your subconscious. When you challenge a limiting belief, it feels uncomfortable because it disrupts the familiar. But discomfort is a sign of growth. It means you are expanding beyond old boundaries and stepping into new potential. Embracing this discomfort with curiosity and courage allows you to rewrite the rules you have lived by. This is how transformation becomes real, not through wishful thinking, but through intentional change in the stories and beliefs that drive your life. The language you use internally is a powerful tool in this process. Words carry energy and meaning, shaping how you interpret your experiences.